The day has arrived. We have waited months upon months upon months. From drafts to free agency, preseason, we are here now. Week one begins, folks. Dallas and Philly. And oh, what a hoot. My goodness, Nutmeg. Unbelievable start to the season.
It's opening night, Bucks McGee. How does your heart warm?
Oh my goodness, the world is right. I always this I honestly truly believe this with all of my heart. When first week it hits, the world becomes right and whole, and it's not as bad as I think it is.
Life's not that hard. You just need a little bit of football.
You just need September to roll around, and life's right.
Yeah. All right. So this didn't exactly get off to the barnstorming that we thought it would, but the first quarter had a very very interesting. There's a lot of points, but I kind of look at it with a grain of salt because I feel like Philadelphia kind of just set up Dallas for their points. It really should have been. It really should have been the blowout we expected it to be.
I don't know what you're talking about. The first 6 seconds were great. I don't know what you're talking about. Barn burning extravaganza. Jalen Carter gets Jalen Carter gets booted out. Spitting on Dak, and then after that, all bets are off. If this is an interlude to the Eagles season, how important Jalen Carter is, they need to make sure that man does nothing wrong because Dallas is in this all the way. Dallas, I'm impressed. They've moved the ball. The Eagles secondary, which a lot of people thought it might be an issue, is an issue. Um, you've got to give Dallas credit. They've been able to move the ball. When it comes to the Eagles offense, it's been the Jalen Hurts show with a little sprinkle of Saquon.
Yeah.
Not really much from the receivers, but this game is a lot closer than anybody thought.
Yeah, when you consider they gave up over 75 yards to CD in a quarter, and then of course they had the big pass interference against Pickens that set up the second touchdown. Like the cornerback is a major, major concern for the Eagles right now.
I'm telling you, if teams are watching this and they're like, okay, well, if this is the case, if we've got big physical receivers, this is what we're going to do. So the Eagles are going to have to tighten this up and really watch it. And if you've watched this game, pretty much all of those pass interference calls were warranted. Hands inside the jersey, like it seems like the Eagles secondary is almost undermanned or undersized. And Dallas has been able to run the ball somewhat. Like that was something they couldn't do last year. But so far, it looks like they have a modest run game.
Well, from the goal line anyway, from inside the five.
So from the 20 to 20, it's all Dak's arm, and then after that, it's going to be
Yeah.
Williams running it in.
Now you brought up off air an interesting point that how the Dallas flow kind of changed as far as from the first quarter to the second quarter. And I was thinking like, okay, well maybe it's just Philly. They had, banner night vibes. They need to calm down. The Jalen Carter thing kind of got the wrong emotions stirred up right away. And then you brought up that like the play calling maybe took a change too. Maybe it wasn't just nerves. Maybe it was Dallas just firing on all cylinders and then all of a sudden decided to do something different. Because CD Lamb was a ghost for the most part in the second quarter.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. I thought the first quarter they were like, okay, let's test the secondary, and they were successful. And then the second quarter, it was kind of like they went to the short game a little bit more. But I also think they should have went to Pickens a bit more. They tried to get Turpin in a bit, which is great because the guy's got speed. He had a couple of decent chunk plays, but I think they almost kind of got away from the deep pass a bit more than they should have. I think Dallas needs to throw the ball all over the yard for them to be successful. Dak is going to have to throw this ball all over the yard, and I think not only this game but for the whole season. And then your run game, give it time to develop because I don't know what this run game is truly going to be. Like you said, on the goal line, it's great, but are they going to be able to average 120, 130 yards per game? I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
and and it's hard to make that assessment as far as Javonte Williams because he was always hurt in Denver. So it's like well, we can't even use his past successes, so to speak, as an indicator towards how Dallas is going to use him.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what it just needs to be is just spread them out and throw it. They've got a decent line. I want to see a little more, a little more to the tight end and see what you can do. Right now they have Philly reeling, let's be honest. No one thought the game was going to be this close going into halftime. So just keep throwing the darts, see what you can do.
Well, the other thing is, as far as I kind of I kind of want to push you on that a little bit because I haven't really seen Dallas's defense do much of any that to me is the least surprising thing about the first half because they've got no pressure on Jalen Hurts. They rush, he goes right forward, or he's been able to complete down the field. He's running wherever he wants on the field. Like I really haven't as far as Dallas's defense, nothing has surprised me here.
Well, here's the thing. It's not like the Eagles have really gone deep on them. It's been pretty much, Saquon and the short stuff and, yeah, Jalen's legs. But if you watch this game, there's been a lot of missed tackles by Dallas. They've had the Eagles in some third and long situations. They just haven't been able to capitalize and let them go and take them to the bench. So Dallas has to clean up on the tackling and some situational stuff. But I think if they do that, they very well could be leading this game.
Yeah, and honestly, not getting Jalen Hurts on the ground just maybe makes you wonder: do they miss Micah Parsons?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. And I think especially once the trade happened, people were like, oh, okay, line's 8.5, should be 10. I think people thought this team was going to be left for dead, but you've got to give them credit. They're right in it. It's just a couple missed tackles, a couple, I think some questionable kind of play calling in the second quarter, but they've toughened up and they're in it.
Compare that to Brian Schottenheimer's play calling in the past, the first time I remembered Brian Schottenheimer as a play caller was, of course, his tenure with the Jets, and Jets fans didn't like him too much.
Exactly. So you kind of hope that, he's learned from that. Hopefully he doesn't, kind of fall back into some of those things. He needs to understand what he has weapons wise. And as the season goes on, unless this defense really starts to, get a little better, their third down, because right now they're bad in third down right now. Bad in third down. They're going to have to clean that up. If they can clean that up, I think they'll be all right. But I think right now you got to go to your strength, and that's your offense, and that's throwing the ball.
To that note, third down, you think a lot of times quarterbacks go short game. We really haven't seen Ferguson a whole lot. We saw Turpin a little bit towards the end of the half, but not so much past that. So what do you want to see more of the short game? Because that may have just been what's missing as far as converting third downs.
It's fine to mix it in, but I think you can take this secondary deep. I really do. I think why did you bring George Pickens in? Everybody knows that the guy is a great deep
Burner.
ball runner. Yeah, exactly. One play alone, he ended up getting, a freaking, pass interference call. That's what he's there for. So
Yeah.
let him try to take the top off. Let CD eat middle to somewhat deep, and Turpin in there. I think they can do it. They have from what I've seen so far, the receivers can do that. But if you're just going to play it short, 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 I think you're playing into what Philly does. They've got great linebackers. They do have speed on the line and great linebackers. So you kind of have to stretch this and force that young secondary to really perform.
And to your point, away from Philadelphia's weakness, because obviously short, short, short is away from what we saw the cornerback struggle with.
Yeah, exactly. So go at the weakness. What's the worst that's going to happen? Couple incompletes. What it's looking like is every time you're going deep, you're going to get a pass interference call. So go ahead.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Dallas's defense is only half the story as far as that's concerned. What we see from Philadelphia's offense, we kind of saw Goddard mixed in a little bit. We really haven't seen Devontae Smith. We really haven't seen AJ Brown. So we haven't seen Jalen go deep. It's been a lot of Saquon. Jalen getting whatever he wants whenever the pocket breaks down, and Dallas has not got any pressure on him. So what do we like out of the Philadelphia offense?
I think they're going to they're going to do the same thing. I think they're going to do with what's been working, and that's been this offense. That's how they ran. That's how that offense was last year. Let's be simple. It was the
Yeah,
Saquon show with a
true.
little bit of Jalen, and some guest appearances throughout the season. So if they feel that, hey, you know what, now we're going to start maybe eating the clock up, keeping Dallas's offense off the field, because I think that's going to be part of it, because Dallas has shown that this offense can produce points. They look like they can score deep. So the Eagles might be thinking, okay, well, you know what? Let's run a bit more. Let's, kind of keep it slow, pick up first downs, eat up the clock, give Dallas limited times on the field. Maybe that's their plan. I don't know if they're going to sit there and all of a sudden start taking shots and go blow for blow at Dallas. I don't think that's the Eagles' style. They found something that's working, and I think they're going to tune it a bit and just try to eat more clock and keep Dallas on the bench.
Nick Sirianni very much in the if it ain't broke, don't fix it mindset.
Yeah, why not? He's won Super Bowls like with it, so this is what he's going to do. I think the second half it'll be a lot more. There'll be a lot more Saquon, probably some more bootleg type stuff, and we'll see what happens. I would like to see them get the receivers involved, but if Dallas, is clamping down a bit and they just feel more comfortable running the offense this way, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And a Dallas Goddard signing, a few Dallas Goddard signings, which is someone who was a little forgotten about last season.
Yeah, he was a little nicked up last year and such, but he's a quality tight end. He's going to be that safety valve when you need him. But when you've got the 2,000 yard man behind you, you're just gonna you're gonna ride that out. But I think they need to get him a little more involved as well in the offense and just try to be a little more well-rounded the second half.
And to your point, as far as comparisons to last season, very much early on what we saw where Saquon did all the yardage down and then Jalen took the touchdowns. Saquon did get a touchdown to near the end of the first half. So I guess he kind of said, "All right, Jalen, chill out. I need some pay dirt too."
Yeah, because after a while, it's great that Hurts is doing that, but one run out there, one good hit, and he's good, he's out. So you got to kind of temper that and not let that be your offense. So that's why you got Saquon. Let him do what he does.
Do you think it's a lot of Dallas's secondary just clamping down the receivers, or like with our Dallas argument with play calling, do you think it's also Philadelphia's play calling? Sirianni's just going back to what works, and he's not really trying to throw downfield.
It could be he could feel that right now the best thing is to try to get Saquon and going and try to keep it mid range and then see what happens in the second half. Like I said, I don't know why they didn't take some chances downfield. Dallas' secondary is solid. It's not incredible. There are I think some holes in it a bit, but like I said, if he felt comfortable going this route and things were clicking, if you find something, you don't go away from it if it's going to continue to work. Now, the second half, Dallas may try to tighten it up, and then he's going to start throwing a little more. I think that's how they're going to play it.
Speaking of that second half, as we get ready, as we're kicking off here, what are your expectations as far as what we saw and what may continue?
I think Philly's going to continue to do what they do. I think you're going to get a healthy dose of Saquon. I think they're going to try to stretch the field a bit. They're going to see what Dallas is playing. Hopefully, you'll see a little more AJ Brown, a little more physicality on that aspect. When it comes to Dallas, I think they're just going to do the same thing. They're just going to rip it and see what happens. They do need to stretch the field a bit more. I think it's going to be whichever defense can make a big play, that team's going to win. It's a lot closer than what we thought it was going to be. But right now, it's anyone's game.
A little bit of AJ Brown. How about any AJ Brown?
Very, very, very true, because pretty soon he'll be on the bench reading books.
Yeah. I still kind of think a lot of Dallas success is off Philadelphia mistakes here, though. So I mean, I'm kind of more expecting the second half Philly to calm down a little bit. They got the celebration out of the way. I'm expecting to see Philadelphia as more of a well-oiled machine here and start to look more polished and get some scoring possessions going a little more consistently.
No, definitely. But a lot of the way they played last year was it was either all Saquon or a little bit of pass and a little bit of Saquon. So I don't know if they're gonna totally abandon it and try to stretch it more, but I think you're gonna see them incorporate the pass a bit more. Like I said, and test this Dallas defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued for what Dallas's first possession because, like you said, with the change in play calling, and then it got a little bit more stretchy to close out the half. But I'm curious to see like which play calling rules out as once they get on that side of the ball again in the second half.
I think it's all going to depend on, if it's a situation where, if Philly scores, coming out of the half and they end up stopping Dallas, then I think what'll happen is you'll see Dallas just start to try to just match them point for point. And I think you'll definitely see Philly kind of slow it down and try to be methodical and eat the clock.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what Saquon's doing early. So, I mean, that could also just defeat our whole premises here because if Dallas's run defense is going to be like it was in the first half and what we've seen so far in the second half here, uh, we may just see more of that because if they can't stop Saquon, why do anything but hand it off?
Yeah, well, don't forget last year Dallas couldn't stop the run last year.
Yeah,
That was great. If you were going to pass against Dallas, yeah, Dallas's defense had a chance. If you were going to run, there was no shot in it. And from the looks of it, like you said, right now it looks like Philly's starting to find a rhythm on the run game. So Philly will have no problem saying, "Okay, let's run for 300 yards in the second half. We don't care."
yeah. Why and to that and on top and to double down on that, why risk turnovers as well?
Yeah, so
I
at
know.
that point, Dak's sitting on the bench. That offense isn't going to get anything, and next, they may end up winning by 10 points.
Yeah, yeah, a lot. We'll hang out for a little while longer, maybe to see what Dallas does. But um, that's that this first Dallas possession I think will dictate whether Philly wins by 10 or more or this remains close.
Who knows? If Dallas ends up coughing up the ball, like I said, no one believes in Dallas. It could be a situation where the Eagles defense gets optimistic and grabs a pick. Who knows? But right now, you know, the Eagles, I think, will just do what they do, and they may be happy just putting threes up the rest of the game. If they can stop Dallas, they're going to just do what they got to do to win. They kind of play with the mantra, 1 point wins. That's all I need. 1 point better.
If,
That's
if
what the way we were
Philly
last year.
if Philly has successes like they're having right now to start up the second half, can you see Dallas in a position where they just try to force it and then mistakes ensue?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what will happen. Dallas will try to force it, try to score quick, try to get back in the game. If they can get some pressure on Dak may end up throwing a pick, and there it is. It's not like the Eagles secondary is horrible. It's just a lot of it's an experience. They have the youngest defense in the league, so it's going to be one of those things where they're inexperienced. They may be inexperienced, but with that, sometimes that you find you get a young guy who makes a great play. You're kind of playing with fire in that sense.
And in that case, the strategy that they had success with, whether by skill or by penalty, in the first half, kind of backfires on them.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, Dallas ends up with the sack here, and the defense makes a stand. That's what Dallas needs to do. Dallas needs to be able to stop them and keep the Eagles at like third and longs. That's how they're going to win this game.
Yeah.
If
Well,
they can.
and to kind of tie this all together, they put them in third and longs. Now Philadelphia will be less likely to just run the ball with Saquon, and we put Jalen Hurts' arm to the test, which as we've noted, he just hasn't done so far this game.
Yeah, he hasn't needed to, and Sirianni's like, okay, fine. If I don't have to put my guy in that kind of trouble, why not? Go ahead, run it. If they're going to give you that kind of run play, then go ahead and take it.
And of course, right on cue, Jalen Hurts throws short, well short of the yards they needed for the first down. So Sirianni's obviously being a bit more of a conservative play caller already.
Nope, and they're probably going to come out a little more aggressive next possession. But at the same time, when you've got their kickers over there nailing them like nobody's business there, you're getting 3 points. You've got a guy who can, hit from 60. He's going to give you 3 points. So you always know there are some points available, even if
Yeah.
you end up having to kick.
Yeah. Drilled it from 60.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, yeah, you want the 6, but hey, you know what? As long as we're getting 3, we're continuing to keep pressure on them. So now Dallas is going to have to sit there and say, Dallas knows they can't get into a kicking game with them. They've got a guy who can kick, but they want to win this game. They got to score touchdowns. That's what it's got to be.
Yeah, the problem with kicking game is the onus to win that is very much on your defense. And even with Philadelphia's secondary struggles, I'd still put more confidence on Philly's defense than Dallas's.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those things where I think Dallas, to gain the confidence, needs to score touchdowns. It's one thing where if it's like fourth quarter, there's 7 seconds left and you need that kick to win, okay, fine, whatever. But I think this offense needs to start early this season. So if you can put some pressure and score on this Philly defense, there you go.
As we wait for the game to return from commercial break, since we just saw Louis Guzman in a FanDuel commercial, in the spirit of sports betting, Bucks McGee, what do you think's the first play from Dallas in the second half going to be? Will it be a bomb, a short pass, a run? What you got?
I don't think it. I don't think it's a run. I think they're throwing, and of course, the smart money's on CD, but I'm going Pickens. Like, take a shot early. I think you've got the weapons where you could take a shot just to see what happens, see what they're playing, and go from there. If it doesn't work, and you just can't get it to them, then CD in the slot. You got Ferguson. You've got weapons, so you might get a good chunk on second down. Third becomes manageable. You get the first down and you move on. But I think you kind of got to take some shots when you can. And I think first possession coming out of the half for you, why not?
You want to see if they clean up their discipline and they'll give you another pass interference penalty out the gate.
Yeah, like let's be honest. Like they've had issues this first half, so why not? If CD's run some great routes, Pickens just run straight down the field. If he can get a step on somebody, you're good to go because the man can make the catch. Mm-hmm. If it's a situation where, the cornerback doesn't think he's got it, of course he's going to try to reach. It's just human nature. That's what they do. So if he can get his hand back up there you go. It might be a 30-yard penalty.
As they just showed a shot of the Eagles Super Bowl ring here, who would have guessed, with all the torture Eagles fans have had chasing a championship, that they'd have 2 in less than a decade?
Right. Sometimes teams just take a while, then all of a sudden you just get them in bulk.
And those 2 Super Bowls coming at the demise of Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, hey, if you're gonna do it right. You got to beat the best. You don't want. It's not like you're beating Trevor Lawrence or something.
In possibly one of Tom Brady's greatest Super Bowl performances.
It can't be perfect all the time. It's heavy is the crown he wears. You don't want it to be that much heavier.
Dak's under center on a handoff.
Yeah, a handoff. What?
Solid game.
You got to give them credit. You stick to your guns. I guess they feel Williams is good, and then that happens. Yeah, see, like you don't run up right into, even though Carter isn't in the game, you don't run right up into the mouth of the defenses such as that. The Eagles they can still stop the run somewhat.
That takes a lot of confidence in your offensive line to do things like that successfully.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you don't have Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith back there, so let's keep it realistic here and just
And those set up the most interesting third down scenarios because the conventional wisdom is it's third and short, just run the ball, get the first down easy. But you've just done that twice, and neither one of them has worked out. And it's like if you pass, then that opens up more risk.
Exactly. And they just squeak by and get the first down. Even though Williams had to run 10 yards to get the first down, the wide pitch I thought was a little unnecessary, but
well, there's your risk in the play calling to be a little unpredictable.
Yeah, no, he dusted off that Jets playbook, said, okay, let's get it going.
Yeah. I don't think Curtis Martin was doing those. Sorry, not to throw up he shall not be named for you.
It's all right. Curtis Martin got what he deserved. Yep, Curtis Martin got his. You go ahead, buddy. Oh, man.
Oh! Well, you know what, Dak, when you throw into double coverage.
Yeah, like, no, like you don't. No, don't do that.
Who is that even to? Is that to Pickens? Or that's CD?
I think it may have been CD. I couldn't tell. Because once the pass went by him, then somebody got hurt, and then they went straight to the Eagles player. So I don't know who it was.
It's hard to see jersey numbers in between two darker green jerseys.
So, and yeah, I understand, Dak. You want to throw it like that, but let's not into double coverage. Like I'm trying to give you props, and it's just not working out.
Well, you did try to give them props, and so far in the second half, they have not paid you off, Buccs McGee. So let's enjoy the second half. Football is back. At least we've got Happy there. Let's sort of take us off air on our halftime special on Banner Night in Philadelphia.
Folks, we're back. Football is back. Enjoy it. Take your time. For all you husbands and such out there, I hope you handed in your contracts to your wives. Let them know. Won't see you till February. For everybody else, enjoy the game. It's going to be a barn burner.